It's not right, but I'm going to compare them. Bob Dylan. Now let's be clear, what grounds could and should we compare them? It can't be on lyrical merit because obviously Bob Dylan is one of the greatest songwriters of all time. That's no discredit to Ezra Koenig, he's a very talented lyricist, but he's no Bob Dylan and that's not meant as a diss. And we can't compare them on vocals because, and don't get me wrong, I'm a big Bob Dylan fan. I actually even enjoy his vocals, but I don't think it's betrayal to acknowledge the fact that most people find his voice kind of grating, and Ezra actually, of course, has a very lovely voice. So what does that leave us with exactly? I guess the topic, of course, that interests me most is, how they deal with God in their music. And if we're going to go that route, then the best place to have that discussion is in orbit around Vampire Weekend's song off their third album, Modern Vampires of the City, and All Along the WatchTower off John Wesley Harding. Okay, so it goes without saying that both Ezra and Dylan are not Torah scholars. I mean, let's just make that really clear. So I don't have high expectations for either of them to really nail deep and profound Jewish concepts, but nonetheless, they both make biblical allusions in some of their works, and I think it's really interesting to look and see how exactly they handle conceptions of God. Specifically the lines, "Through the fire, through the flames, you won't even say your name, only I am that I am." And who could ever live that way? I mean, obviously, right, let's get it out of the way. We're talking, the way it's pulled right from Exodus 3:2 and 14, I think. In his words already, I hear somebody grappling with, just the profundity of a transcendent being who's all-knowing, all-loving, despite his creations rejecting him outright, and trying to wrestle and deal and comprehend such an idea and such a concept. And it's not his only meditation on the topic. I used to listen to Time Crisis, and he went through, this song that he helped Beyonce with off her album Lemonade. And on that album, he had written this hook, which I think is a very, very similar, contemplation of the same idea, but from a slightly different perspective.
Hold up, they don't love you like I love you. Slow down, they don't love you like I love you. Back up, they don't love you like I love you. Step down, they don't love you like I love you. Can't you see there's no other God above you? Other wicked way to treat the man who loves you. Hold up, they don't love you like I love you. Slow down, they don't love you like
That was the first demo that we made. So I took it home. I was listening to it a lot. Yeah.
One question. In your version, it was...
Oh, right.
What a way to love the God above you?
Yeah, right. So the lyrics were changed in the final version. So in my version, I sang, "Can't you see there's no other God above you?"
Right.
Yeah, it's funny. I was thinking about this. So, "Can't you see there's no other God above you? What a wicked way to treat the man who loves you." What was I thinking? It was this using the word wicked is very biblical. And then I was like, oh, right. Where does no other God above you come from? And then I realized that's from the Bible. "You shall place no other God before me." That must have been kind of where the phrase came from. Because, there's only one God.
Yeah, I didn't think the Bible referenced other gods, but that's besides the point.
Well, because people used to be pagans. God
the Greek gods.
God came down to Abraham. You really should know this.
I don't know my biblical history at all.
And to me, honestly, the whole thing, it really works. I think it works because it's honest. And it feels honest, and I think that it's, the only way anybody could, approach such a topic is just with a sense of humility and a sense of awe, because that's what it demands in order to really think about it in a real way. Okay, but now let's kind of shift gears and look at All Along the WatchTower. So obviously this is one of Dylan's more famous songs, and everyone likes to point out the fact that he's referencing Isaiah 21. And, Evan from Nerdwriter, he did a whole video essay on this. And of course, it's always great work from him. But, he was at least honest enough to acknowledge out of the gate that, he really has no idea what's going on in the song. And I think most people have no idea what's going on. And that's okay, Okay, we're actually going to need to change location real quick. Okay, There's some people who are trying to sleep in this house and I don't want to be disturbing them. And one might be tempted to say that this is a reflection of biblical prophecy itself. It's opaque and obscure and not readily understood by most people. But I think that sets the bar way too low in terms of what we can expect to ever learn or grasp from biblical prophecy itself. True, unlike the 5 books of Moses, which are written with unparalleled clarity, relatively speaking, the latter prophets are riddled with riddles and full of allusions and illusions, and it's hard to really know what to make of those works. But we know when you dig deep enough, all of those symbols map to ideas. And the illusions and the riddles can be unpacked if only you're brave enough to explore them. Is Dylan doing that in this song? Gosh, I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think that takes away from the merit of the song either. I think it's still a lovely song, beautiful even. But do I think he's saying something profound at the end of the day? No. We could say more on this, but the hour is getting late. Good night.